the people who are working on this, like only the mobile team could do part of the work, and like the desktop app team couldn't, or some shit. I feel like I don't know. That's my thesis.
Yeah, I mainly use Twitter on my computer, so uh, I don't like that either. But yeah, it looks like it's
Yeah,
working. Was Tej on his computer as
what's
well?
shaking? Yeah,
Okay.
we're at his place upstate in Hudson.
Nice, dude.
Yeah,
So you were traveling a little bit recently, right? You went to Chicago, maybe somewhere else.
yeah. I was in Chicago. I was actually at the Chicago Hacker House a little bit.
And
Um,
that's
with
where
some of the Solana peeps.
that's where Jordan is based, right? And like he's
Yeah,
there's like some is Aurori is that team mainly based in Chicago?
I'm not sure. They weren't in the office.
Okay.
If they are,
I feel like there's one big project that was based there, but I don't know. I just got their IDO token, but I won't be able to sell it. So I'm just getting dumped on because it's only on FTX.
oh really?
Yeah. And like
How'd you get it if you can't sell it?
so like they did like an on-chain IDO lottery thing. Here, I'm gonna ask
Mm-hmm.
TJ. But yeah, I don't know. Unless they have like a radium market for it or serum market, I mean. We'll see, dude. We'll see.
Why can't, if it's on chain? Can't anyone just make a market for it on chain?
Yeah. Um,
You should just do that for the people.
yeah, I should. I don't know. I don't know how to do that, but I bet it's not that hard, right?
Well, it's just so that remember when you made the, oh, I guess you didn't make the Cyber Samurai
Yeah.
Serum market. Someone did it for you.
Yeah, I think Pete did it or something. But
Hmm.
I'm sure somebody will. Let's see. I don't know. But yeah, they did one of those things. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. They did the Mango IDO thing, um, where there's like a period to deposit money, and then that's what prices it. And then there's like a grace period where you can decide to withdraw, and then like, so people basically like withdraw until the last second,
Mm-hmm.
and then whatever it is at the last second, however much was raised for the amount of tokens, that's the price. It's kind of interesting.
How much did they sell? Also, she could TJ as a speaker.
Yeah, I said I invited him to speak.
Terrible. Should I try to go help him figure it out?
Yeah,
Technical support.
boomer. Fucking.
Boomer.
But dude, they raised them. I
How
think
much?
100 mil.
Really?
Yeah, and
Damn, this better be a
that's weird. They
sick
took
game.
off the stats. Let's see. And it's
Someone
not
told me
even. I mean,
45 mil.
it's not even that much. It's not even that much for. Oh, maybe it. No. It was 108 million.
We're good.
108 million?
Yeah.
How much token supply did they sell? Like, what's their EV? You know?
I forget. Let me look it up. It's not. It's not like that. It's not that much of their total supply. So the FTV is going to be like 100 billion or something crazy. I feel like.
No way.
I swear, dude. I feel like it's maybe here. Let me double check.
That's absurd if that's the case.
It's 7% of the supply. So
100 million is 7% of the supply?
yeah,
I guess that's not that bad. I guess. It's like more than $1 billion.
yeah. What is that? 100 divided by. It's it's like 1.4 billion.
Lots,
Okay. For a game. There we go.
I feel like TJ's a Rory
Boomer
Bear.
figured it out.
Bro, here's what I don't understand. How are we gonna sell $108 million on the fucking IDO, but the Aurora floor price sits? What's going on with that?
That's a great question, dude. I don't know.
You're supposed to be the NFT goblin.
I mean, so
Give us some like
yeah, I don't know, dude.
analysis.
I mean, I like Aurora, like I told you guys at one time, like I think Aurora, if the game gets like significant use, it'll be the most expensive NFT on Solana. Like the rare Auroras will be by far the most expensive. But it's like pretty big execution risk. Like everybody likes to say like about their investors, oh, they have, like SBF, I think himself is listed as a co-founder, and they have Alameda and they have like CMS. But, just from people actually recently I went to the SMB LA meetup and I sat next to this girl who's she used to be like the head of mobile gaming at Google or something. I don't know if she's like the head of all of it, but she was like high up or whatever in the gaming at Google. And she was just, I was just picking her brain about it. And like from people who I talk to who know more about the gaming industry, they're like, dude, it's so fucking hard to make a good game. Like no matter if you have
It's so hard.
infinite cash, like there's something about creating a game that's like fun and engaging and like keeps people playing for a long time. It's just they're like it's yeah, it's fucking hard to do. So I don't know. My friend who I was talking to is like way smarter than me. He was saying that he's just trying to invest in like game dev shops like that are and then trying to convince them to build a crypto game. He's like a fucking whale, but like I was asking him like, did you buy the reward thing? He's like, no, dude. Like this is one area where crypto native teams are not going to make it because he's like it's way easier to
Yeah.
build it. Like if you can build a sick game, it's easy to add a token component, but it's hard to like be a fucking crypto company and build a sick game. Like that's the way harder part.
I mean, I feel like the Star Atlas characters, like that's the play. Like they're using infrastructure like UE5 to make sure that the graphical experience is impeccable, and they're assembling a team with resources akin to like a Ubisoft. Like they're going balls to the wall, and they're going to spend the next 5 to 7 years building, and
Yeah,
then it's game first, and then we'll add the value component of crypto after. Whereas, yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like the rest of this shit is it's like yeah, like we'll do a crypto thing, and then we'll build a game in the back end. It's like nah, like games are extremely difficult to build.
yeah.
Yeah.
A
You got to be kind of bearish when you can barely launch an NFT and then you're going to build up like a high performance game. Like it seems like launching NFT should be way easier, but then, I don't
Oh,
want to
weren't
be
they
a
the first
hater.
to use Candy Machine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that wasn't their fault. I feel like it's easier. Like the more people that do it, it gets easier for everyone else to do it. Which I guess is why there's just a million NFT projects now. It's like
yeah.
every one of my followers on Twitter is an NFT project. I have no real followers.
Me
Just
too.
like
That's all my engagement is other NFT
yeah.
projects. Hey, check us out.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
When I get a notification, I'm like, oh, maybe a real person followed me, and then it's just another. It's like another. It's like a panda or something, soul panda or soul squirrel.
Shake,
8,000
shake,
soul
shake. Did you
squirrels.
get did you get airdropped one of these pixelated dick pics? This new Solana NFT dick pic project, the Bleacher.
Um, dude, I have so many NFTs in my wallet. Like it's hard to find shit.
It's terrible, dude. So Crisp got one. It,
So I don't
it was
know.
it was, it was pretty heinous. It was pretty heinous. I was like, I definitely didn't get airdrop this dick pic project. I don't have enough followers. And then I open up my Phantom, and it's just like a super veiny one. I'm like, how do they find me? How do they find them?
Yeah, yours was particularly gross.
Terrible.
They must have just looked at like sales on big platforms or something. Or maybe at first I thought it was because you like held like a SMB or a thug or probably like a degen ape. But maybe it could also just be like if you did sales. Honestly, Shake, you probably have a bunch of them. You probably have a bunch of dicks in your Phantom wallet.
um, yeah, dude. We'll see. my by the way, my friend that I was talking about, I invited him in, but I didn't give him permission to speak. It's KW, and he heard me talking about him. Yeah,
Um,
dude.
but you were
Oh,
just talking about like Aurora and crypto gaming.
yeah. What's your take on like are you
Um,
are you are you bearish on crypto native like companies building games?
yeah. Especially ones that are raising so much money so early. Like, I'm not a fan of Star Atlas. I think Aurora, its chances are like better than Atlas, but you know, there are so many traditional game dev shops right now raising money and building things on Soul that haven't been announced yet, and like it is so much harder to build. It's hard to build a fun game, and I think it's especially hard to do that if you're like kind of a crypto native non-gaming background. So I think the ones that will really crush are going to be these game studios, and they'll launch and either incorporate an NFT, maybe a token model. I'm also kind of bearish like the dual token model right now that we have from Axie, but I don't think we've quite figured out how the a gaming ecosystem will work yet, or like the right model for it. But hopeful we'll see something in the next like 6 to 12 months.
Why
Is
are you bearish the dual token model? Well, like particularly like let's say the Star Atlas dual token model.
Um, the I don't think that you need to have an in-game currency like the AXS, and I forget what it's called for it's at the Atlas token. Like, why not
It's
use
Atlas and
Solana
Polo.
or like use an actual currency in the game instead of creating your own? Like, they in the models for those currencies, it's like they just continually inflate forever. And like I don't know. They don't seem needed, and they kind of require like bull sentiment in order for the thing to continue to work. Um, so like I don't know. They don't make a ton of sense to me. NFTs in games make a ton of sense. Like, huge fan of like being able to buy land or skins or whatnot. That some type of DAO token I think is kind of interesting, but um yeah, I don't know. They like I wrote on Twitter the other day that the like Axie, well, not Axie because it's actually launched, but Atlas and Aurora remind me of like in 2017 when we were buying ICOs and we were like speculatively trading the future value of blockchains and products that didn't exist. Like, we're doing the same thing right now with these games. We're like trading the expected future value of something that will be used in a game that doesn't exist. And like in 2017, most of those went to zero and most of them never launched. And I think we'll see the same thing. And some will be huge success, but it's like, how, I don't know how Star Atlas lives up to the hype or lives up to the like valuation it's currently demanding in the secondary market for Alice and Polis. I think they launch a game, and I like what they're trying to do. It's just like I'm not personally willing to risk capital making that bet.
I feel like Star Atlas is kind of I mean, look, like I feel like Axie was kind of the canary for um, the convergence of blockchains and games. Like if you pull the play to earn aspect out of Axie, like the game crumbles. It's like a piece of shit game. So if you use like the basic premise that like people do want to go earn in game, especially if the opportunities in game are so vastly better than what they could achieve in meat space, but then actually create a good game. I think that's a compelling duo. With the Star Atlas, I mean, I tend to agree. Like the valuations, it has to be sensational, but I do see like allocating capital towards something like Star Atlas or an Illuvium as sort of like a call option. Like if Star Atlas works and you have like this convergence of like impeccable graphics like on UE5, and you have like actual political domination and governance dynamics that people actually participate in, it's like an Eve Online on steroids, and if it works, I think the valuation could be like absolutely enormous. I mean, you could have
It,
so many people competing, socializing,
so what
working,
my
playing in that sort of a game.
my question to you then is like, why not just sit on the sidelines and wait until they actually launch that game and then get exposure to it? Because it's like, for me, where I'm allocating capital right now, like I'm taking seed early stage bets on game dev shops. And, if Star Atlas launches and it's fantastic, I'll buy some Polis or whatever in-game item there is. But like I said, like the game that first launches is not going to live up to the hype of what everyone has built it up to be. If it ever launches, like it could be another Star Citizen. Like if you have that much capital, it's just like I don't know. I think the risk there is just it's too high, and there's better returns to be had. And your comment on like you know get in-game play, 100%, like spot on. Like it's going to be one of the biggest sectors in crypto in 6 months to 2 years. Play to earn is massive. So I'm like super bullish on that. It's just like I'm just hesitant to jump into the hype of something that's crazy overvalued right now where a game doesn't currently exist.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's reasonable, and I don't know. The way I see it is like you either get in like early when there's no proof of concept, and buy a deep out of the money call option, or like you let the game start to release kernels of reality and invest as like the narrative ossifies. Like I feel like those are the same bets. It's just like the risk rewards are the same to those. And I guess if you have like a portfolio of bets, maybe it makes sense to invest in game first shops that are integrating crypto and asset elements. Um, what's your take on Illuvium?
I haven't looked into that specific game, so can't comment.
Mm.
I wonder with games like you're talking about using the in-game token to purchase goods and whatnot. I wonder if it's really how DeFi. Like at first, everyone was making their token like you had to pay in the token to use the protocol, and that basically like didn't really work that well because it's hard to get it to a stable enough place where it makes sense and people don't want to hold your like kind of nascent coin to use your protocol. And so I wonder if in game like you still end up using like normal stable coins. Um, Kind of like interesting if a similar dynamic plays out.
I could definitely see that. It is interesting, the dual token model. It is odd that you're using the in-game money to raise capital on the front end, and like inherent to a money, you don't want it to be a hyper store of value. You want it to have like a slight inflationary bend so that people spend it. But like to your point, like I feel like what Chainlink did is they're like, yeah, we're gonna denominate everything that happens in our ecosystem in Link, and they raise a shit ton of money. And Chainlink was like a pretty garbage product three years ago. But then they had all of this money and they hired all of these people, and now like the product's pretty good. So there's something to be said like misstructuring how the token interacts with the ecosystem. But if it does raise money, you still do have a war chest to then go build interesting things.
Yeah, that I don't disagree with that, but I can point to hundreds of companies that raised $100 million plus in 2017 that aren't here. So
Right.
like I think Chainlink is an exception to the rule, not kind of like how it kind of normally plays out. Like a lot of times it's like you have founders that raised a ton of ETH, and like now they're ETH whales and they do DeFi for a living, but like their product never launched. So like I'm just skeptical, and I'm also just like, raising so much money, and how in-game items are priced, I think is going to impact the long-term success of the game. Like you look at Atlas when the pricing came out of those ships, and they're like you $100,000 for one of the ships. It's like normal people can't do that, and like it's it's going to limit like the size of the pool of people that are willing to access your product. Like normal games, you pay $40 for a game and then you play it the rest of your life. And like the just that barrier, I think is also kind of a problem in my mind.
Right. That barrier is so real. But that's why I'm so bullish on like the capital markets layer of this whole thing, right? I don't know nearly enough. I'm not smart enough to evaluate which of these games will come to fruition. So I have like a shotgun bet strategy. I want like a little of exposure to all of them. But I feel like a way more dominant bet is figuring out which of the infrastructural elements make most sense to bet on. And I think there's like two ways that I look at it. One is like the NFT suite that allows like Web2 like game development shops integrate blockchain elements, like just create a super simple wallet NFT suite, like compliance suite. Or on the other side is like more to this like barrier to entry for normal people. Like let's provide a capital markets layer that basically goes out, like evaluates all these games full time. It's sort of like a hedge fund. Like you have a group of people that go through and they say, what are the most valuable crypto native capital assets in these games? Like let's amass them and then let's like rent them out to players who are happy to pay a little bit to rent this asset such that they can earn like an in-game income that's better than the real world. And so like, yeah, this $100,000 ship, like I don't want to make a bet on it, but like if YGG is going out there and they're looking for axes and like, you know, whatever the capital asset is in Illuvium and they're buying some ships, like I feel like that's a pretty good bet on like a specialist hedge fund that's like all they do full time.
That's kind of a dark future though, of like our new employers are going to be these game DAOs that can afford to buy the ships that are going to employ me because I can't access it. And then like other point, less sexy feature that's like critical and doesn't exist yet. Um, you know, identity layer for doing like KYC and stuff. I know you don't want to hear that, but like none of these major game shops are going to be able to offer you access to games and products where you can like go in and out of their economies without some type of verification. So I mean it that I think is not near term, so we'll still be able to have fun for a while, but like that will for sure need to get built.
Yeah, I like that. I wish I followed that advice, but I like that. Just what you said, K Dub, about wait and then just bet on the winner. I've kind of bet on like a bunch, kind of like doing what TJ said, but
Well,
it's probably a good idea.
it totally that statement totally depends on the valuation. Like I just think Star Atlas has so much hype around it that the valuation's silly. But
Like in that, oh, I get what you're saying. In
I'll
that
take
case, right?
YOLO
Wait,
bets on non-existent games if it's cheap.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Okay, that makes more sense.
There is, I feel like there is, I don't know, like at this stage with all these games, given the just like the horizon of these bets, like it takes so long to build a good version. So we're trying to make bets with like just a complete lack of information, and they'll come to fruition 5 years out. I feel like one of like the most, and I haven't been doing this that long, but um, like a key part of the thesis is like listening to how the creators describe the purposes of their game. And I do feel like the Star Atlas founder like really has his shit together and has a vision to build like an Eve Online for like the 2030s. Whereas I feel like when you listen to Kane's brother at Illuvium, just the kind of mission and the way he explains it is just not nearly as comprehensive, and that's to an extent like kind of all we have. Like you can't get a great gauge on like who the human capital behind the game is. You can't get a great gauge on if if the game is overhyped relative to valuation. I feel like you can only really get a gauge on like how serious the founder is and like what they intend to build, and then you kind of make the bet that the reality converges onto that intention, which that's a huge suspension of disbelief. But I do feel like I don't know. Star Atlas does feel a little bit different to me. Who knows if it comes to fruition, but it feels unique.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I get really excited when I hear that, like it seems like they have the right elements to do it, but I'm also like I've never invested in games before this year, so I don't fucking know. I've just played them, um, but we'll see. I like one thing I'll say about Aurori that I like is that they've used only game footage in their like promotions, and from what I understand, they're going to come out with like a version of the game this year that's playable. Like they're going to ship something this year, and I think I don't know. Maybe you might disagree, but like I do still think that there's going to be like a first mover advantage, at least for a period of time, I guess. But like if Rory ships something that like is decent this year, and people start playing it and they're used to it, and it gets the brand out there and it brings people on chain, like I think that that's a really important factor. Like okay, for example, like do you guys think I've never played Axie Infinity, but do you guys think Axie Infinity is going to like trend to nothing if they don't make a better game, or do you think that it'll always be around because of the first mover advantage?
And I feel like if you pull the earnings out of Axie, it disappears. So as play to earn becomes acquisition strategy, there'll just be like a sea of games, some of which will have the same play to earn yields for people, plus like a little bit better graphics or a little bit better gameplay or I don't know some competitive dynamics. I mean, I feel like first mover for Axie is really it's not that they were the first live game. It's the first play to earn instance. And I wonder
Mm-hmm.
if that as that field gets more. Although I don't know. I mean, people
It
are
might just be
so
like DeFi Ponzi farms.
people.
You're saying?
Well, yeah, but as soon as I said that, I feel like that may be wrong. I mean, people are so goddamn passionate about that game. I mean, merchants in the Philippines are accepting SLP. Like, it could also be a cultural phenomenon. I just don't know.
I run an Axie operation. Funnily enough, we like it's small. We have like 3 people in New York, and then like they have their people in the Philippines that they kind of farm it out to. Um, I don't know. I agree with your like other statement though. It kind of feels like operating a click farm. Like the game sucks. Like it's not fun to play. It's not enjoyable. But they're spinning off like 1,000 to 1,200 US dollars a month doing it, and like that's a ton of money in the Philippines. So I think that's why there's so much interest. It's more like that it's like a fantastic wage. And I mean, it's probably better than other things that they could do, and like they're earning a lot more. But it's still like I'll feel better about doing this type of stuff when it's actually fun for the people to participate and actually use this thing instead of just clicking buttons for money.
But maybe I misunderstand actually, but there are people who do like playing the game, right? Like, where does the liquidity come from to pay for the whatever scholars? Like, where are they? Like, aren't
We
people buying
buy
stuff?
we buy like the Axies, and the scholars play the game. And I personally, I mean, I haven't spoken to the scholars direct. I have tried the game and think it sucks and it's not fun. But maybe some people enjoy it. I don't think it's an enjoyable experience.
But like, I always thought play to earn the money that they're earning came from other people who are playing it who want to buy the things that they earn in game, more or less,
No,
right?
like in Axie's model, there's a special love potion token which you like earn like through inflation through that like in-game currency that is like paid out to you. And then you make money owning the Axies through demand for other people wanting to buy the Axies that they can then kind of like rent out to these people that are playing it to earn the special love potion token. Yeah.
And like people just want to buy the SLP to breed Axies to make more SLP.
I don't know why anyone buys SLP on an exchange. Like that doesn't make sense to me, but you want to own the Axies to be able to like create these income streams. And then the SLP is paid out to you for playing the game as a user.
Huh. But somebody must be buying the SLP, right? I mean, because
It's on exchanges, people trade it. Yeah, that's again, the dual token model doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but speculative mania, we're all buying everything.
I mean, I feel like there's definitely an interesting emergent cultural phenomenon happening in Axie. Like with SLP, it's kind of circular, right? Because you acquire it to breed Axies, and then you fight the Axies to get more SLP, and there's SLP issued through emissions, and so if demand for SLP erodes, then you could see it cascading fairly quickly. But I think like there is like a reverence for SLP outside of the walls of Axie Infinity now in the Philippines. Like it is almost like a proxy for people's time. Like people literally go into the game, they grind, and that grind is denominated in SLP. Like SLP is now accepted by like some merchants and some like e-commerce. Like
But
and also
like,
the game sort of acts as a bank for certain people, right? Like there's certain things that are happening in Axie that like is a piece of shit game, but they are firsts and they are impressive.
I sure hope they don't turn it into their currency though, because like if you're in crypto, you should care deeply about money and like the soundness of it, and like SLP is like worse than the dollar, right? Like the inflation rate on that thing is absolutely nuts. So like cool right now while we have price support, but like I sure wouldn't want that to be the currency of choice for me.
What is the emissions rate on that SLP?
I'll look it up right now. I don't know it off the top of my head. 1 second.
because I always thought that like crypto gaming, the way I pictured it was like people were coming into Axie like someone who has money and they're like, oh, I want to have the best fucking Axie, like because they just want to like flex basically. Like why would somebody buy like the Helios Aurori? It's because they're just fucking rich and they want to like have status in the game. But it sounds like maybe that's not as much. It seems like it's just more circular. Like because to me, kind of or I don't know, circular. It's like incestuous basically. Like to me, I always that made sense to me. Like okay, these games NFTs can have value because people want to pay real money that they earned at their job to flex in the game, just like they would want to buy like a Rolex or a Beamer or whatever. And so that always made sense to me. But like the way you guys are explaining it, actually, I'm like, wait, that doesn't. I don't
Well,
get how
I
there's
think
like demand. Like, where's the demand, basically?
I think there's an aspect of that, like Path's Axies. Like my guess is he's not renting them out. He just like wants to flex and have Mystic Axies. But like the Axie, unlike a lot of these NFTs, is not just a store of value. It's a capital asset. Like it has a flow of cash flow or a stream of cash flows attached to it. Like if you have a Mystic Axie, it should be able to beat other Axies, which means more earnings in the game. And so I could see a world. I mean, I don't know if this happens, but like if you have Yield Guild and they're this fund that wants to acquire Axies and then rent them out to someone else and keep the spread, I could see a world in which someone acquires a Mystic Axie and then leases it to one of these guilds for a spread, and then the guild goes out and leases it to scholars. It's sort of just like any banking layer. I mean, if there are cash flows, then it can be just a crypto native capital asset.
See, I didn't know that Path, for example. Like, maybe I just don't follow that many Axie people. But I don't know that just makes more sense to me. Because I maybe I'm wrong, but I just always felt like there has to be some kind of demand that's outside of just earning more SLP to breed to earn SLP. You know what I mean? So so if it's a
Yeah.
flex even to like a small percentage of people, then like okay, it starts to make a little bit more sense to me. Because that's what I feel like. You know, you saw that guy who bought the fucking $2 million ape or whatever, the degen ape, and was like tweeting it, and it's like, oh, this Moon Rock Capital or whatever it's called, and I don't know. That's what I've always thought. Like that makes sense to me, but it's just in a game, so it's kind of you have more like visibility and utility. That's why I'm so bullish on Aurori. Is like if Aurori's good, you know, people are gonna want the fucking rare ones to walk around in the game, just like they want the party hats in RuneScape or something. You know, they have no like extra usage. They're not like stronger. They're just rare, and you get internet clout.
What are the Auroras like? What are they supposed to do in the game? I mean, like, can you play the game without an Aurora?
Yeah, that's another reason I like Aurora is that it's going to be free to play, but the 10K collection is you will be able to use those avatars in the game, but you'll also be able to use like no avatar. And then similar to how Star Atlas did it, like if you had these sets of the posters, you got airdrop stuff. Aurora's going to do the same thing. Like you're going to get airdropped in-game assets for having the Auroras.
Mm.
But I don't think like that if like I have a pretty rare one, and I don't think it's stronger than like the least rare one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
So it's not there's no play to win dynamic or pay to win dynamic really.
yeah. By the way, Teach, that trade you helped me with was like fucking legendary trade, honestly. When
Which one?
I
For
traded
the exile?
the exiled ape,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I mean
I'm
that was
so
just
glad I did that.
it
And
was
I did it
perfect
like days
timing. It was
before they
perfect
announced
timing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
For the
you could feel it just didn't like. There's no reason, given the dynamics at the time, that exile were going to be voted in. You know,
I also
it
didn't know
just
that they had duplicates, which is I'm like so stupid for not knowing that. But I thought the exiled apes were all still unique, but they all have duplicates. And I saw this guy Bardstocks, who I'm kind of like Twitter friends with. He's on the DGen Ape council or whatever, and he made a big thread about the exiled apes. And I hadn't realized that. So because if it's a PFP and I had like this golden PFP, like no one's gonna want it if they can get
no.
the real one that's the exact same metadata and like art, you know.
Well, and also like if you consider the fact that like part of the folks voting are those with the original 10K set, like the dude that has the replica of yours, you're like, well, I obviously don't want this guy around.
Yeah, yeah. The guy fucking hooked me up too. He gave me the 200 rare Sorori and a like pretty rare ape that I sold for like 150.
Nice.
Like fucking, I couldn't believe it. Um, but yeah, I don't think the Auroras have like special utility other than just you're gonna get in-game assets and like they're just gonna be a flex. But I don't know. The game was like, to be honest, the gameplay footage for Aurora was like a little underwhelming. But again, like they're showing actual gameplay footage, which I like compared to Star Atlas, where they're showing this fucking like high quality movie that looks like Avatar, and it's like obviously the game's not going to look like that, you know. But it gets
I
people
mean,
more hyped.
yeah, I feel like the interest, like one of the tricky dynamics here is I don't think anyone is doubting that like a professionally assembled game development team can put out a more like, visually appealing and engaging product than like like one of these like crypto tribes that assembles and raises some money through an IDO or NFT sale and then tries to ship a game. But like the problem is like, there's an obvious unwillingness on behalf of those big shops to like integrate any sort of a free market. But I do think it does change. I think there comes a point where like these big game shops realize that by giving up control, you can actually increase revenue as opposed to decrease it. And once that first game dev shop, like traditional shop, does that, I feel like it just like opens the floodgates and like NFT and crypto native elements just start being engaged. Like one of the shitty things about pricing original games is like one time you had you paid $60 for a title and then your revenue's been locked in and you don't really have to ship that much content after that because there's no benefit to it. But the problem with $60 price tag is like some people don't want to pay $60, so you lose those people. And then some people like the gaming zealots, their willingness to pay is much higher, and so you're leaving money on the table. And so like switch to free to play, and you have this dynamic where you can price discriminate. Like you can more accurately get the money from the guy who's willing to engage with the game more, and you also get all the dudes that just want to try it out for free and like maybe buy in-game items. I feel like crypto is the next extension of that, where people can literally engage with the game at whatever level they want. It's sort of just like it's sort of a like a capital efficiency development to the whole shtick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm more. I mean, I'm more hyped about gaming than like I am about DeFi. Sorry, Chris.
It's all right. I don't understand why. It seems like how to use like keys and manage that from a user perspective isn't figured out, and it would just be good for teams to ship games faster, even if they're not great. Like I understand, like everyone's like games are hard, so yeah, they take a lot more time. But it seems like there's a lot of people eager, like eager early adopters that will try shittier products, and then you'd get feedback and like learn about how to make things work smoothly while also using crypto. Like something seems a little bit off about like just big
It
launches. Like big launches make sense if you've already dropped like really good games and then you're just like tweaking them at the edges versus like building a new type of paradigm.
I,
But this isn't my
I think
specialty.
like even looking at the success of Axie, like one of the great things that happened for Axie was launching in kind of a bear market or like when it wasn't as hyped. You got like super broad exposure amongst people that didn't need to like pay the prices they are now. And then like made a lot of those people very wealthy, and now they have like a big community built around it. It's just like the models now, it's like we're launching at these insane prices, the items are super expensive and the game doesn't exist, and I'm just like bearish on that as like a means of creating community and long-term success.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, it just doesn't really seem like good incentive. Like, especially like this is kind of the downside of crypto. Things are liquid so fast that people can make money before they deliver anything. Which, like, no, like you always have reputation on the line, but if you already make a lot of money before you have built anything, that's can. I mean, everyone's human, so it can't help incentives. It can only hurt it. I think in some ways. I guess. I guess there's counterexamples where people raise a lot of money and do well, but
You guys see
Yeah,
that Shake and KW? Have you guys seen that game on Soul that utilizes um, a human's IRL movement patterns to like reflect changes in the game?
what's it called?
I don't know. I saw it come across Twitter.
I haven't seen
Uh,
that.
I've
No.
I've been thinking about like that. That's such a, like a neat idea. Like being able to have an oracle use real life data to like update like a generative NFT or like something in game, like something that responds to real world events. Like that sounds like so fucking cool. Like having that bridge between IRL and URL. And I feel like given how often that sort of those sort of messages need to be blasted across, like you just can't build that shit on ETH. Like that sort of interesting stuff that's just like super dynamic requires a lot of messages to be sent. I feel like that stuff is going to come out of like the bowels of Soul.
Yeah, completely agree. Remember that idea that we talked about for Drift, Teach, about the NFT and like your P&L?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Your NFT evolves as you trade successfully or not.
Yeah. I guess that's not like meat space data, but it's kind of similar.
Yeah. I think it sort of is the same idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I've realized I'm like really good at like thinking of ideas that are really hard to execute.
Yeah.
That I'm completely incapable of executing.
I mean, the thing about that is this is might be overly technical, but all the metadata is off chain. Um, so, like, if it's on Arweave, you can't really update it, and then if it's not on Arweave, it's not like a pure NFT. But I don't know if people or not pure. It's not immutable. So, like, you can just update the same NFT off chain, and so you could like host it on AWS and do it literally like every second if
Like,
you
isn't
wanted
that
to.
what D Gods
And so,
did?
like, it all happens off chain.
Isn't that what D Gods did? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what. Yeah,
Uh,
or I don't
what
know, but I remember there was like a little like tough, like a little skirmish on Twitter about how it shouldn't be like that. But I don't think it's really possible to do it any other way.
Are D gods like do they evolve?
I don't know.
Like,
I
or what did you mean when you asked if is that what Degen? So do you mean did they just throw the metadata off chain?
Yeah, they just hosted them on AWS, and like
Mm.
there was like a bunch of FUD about it. I didn't understand it because I didn't think that they were evolving. It might have had something to do with the bitch tax or whatever, paper hands tax, where they if you sell it below the floor, it might have had something to do with how they do that. Which is funny because I remember like I remember this fucking guy saying like, oh, like because I'm an econ major, like I knew I had to get a bunch of D gods, and I remember I thought it was the funniest tweet. But they haven't even like they're still above the mint, but the floor keeps dumping because I think like I'm not actually sure, but I think they created this culture where like people care even more about the floor price than usual, whereas usually like people do obsess about it, and I keep seeing their floor price dropping, and I was like, so I guess everyone's just taking the 33% tax, and then the team's buying them all back,
Mm.
um, which is like I don't know. I was really interested to see how it played out.
Yeah, Zane tricked me into getting one, and now I have two,
I should have told you when I sold. I
and
sold. I sold
it's
the fucking
dumping.
top of the floor. For some reason, dude. For some reason, my
Yeah, you should
time,
have
dude.
told me.
Like, not to fucking suck my own dick, but for some reason, I'm so much better at flipping NFTs than I am at like trading coins. Like I swear to God, I've
Dude,
sold the top on like several collections like that. Like
dude,
I
maybe
miss a lot too, but I my strike rate is so much higher on NFTs. I don't know why.
dude, maybe you should think.
Dude, we
Maybe you
were
should.
joking yesterday on the hike that you're just a meme front runner.
Dude, oh,
MEV, but meme
here's
is
when
the
I missed.
minor.
Speaking of meme and speaking of missing, I sold a fucking cube at 25 soul. Fucking KW was chastising me. Sold my own fucking project. Um, but yeah, don't bet against a meme, right? That's should take
No,
my advice.
I mean, you do bet against the meme, apparently.
I know. I
Sometimes at
I
the
still have
top.
two of them, and it's like crazy how much they're fucking worth now. Can't believe it.
dude, maybe
Dude,
you should.
I should have known when Zane was hyping up D-Gods that I shouldn't get into it. He's just like such a he's sometimes a big brain, but sometimes he's a
Oh, Zane was
midwit
just on here.
because he's trying to be a big brain. Yeah, he saw the bitch tax and he's like, "This is gonna go like this is the perfect Ponzi
I know, dude.
scheme. It's gonna
I was like,
skyrocket."
dude, am I missing something on this? Because you're fucking way smarter than me, and I think it's stupid as fuck, you know. And I guess he was wrong.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is like a classic pattern. Someone who's like too smart is trying to be too clever, and
Yeah,
then they end up holding a
it's the
bag
midwit.
because they're being a
It's the
midwit.
midwit.
It happens all the time, mostly because I do that all the time. But
I thought I was being the midwit on D gods.
it's so funny. It also happens on engineers all the time, dude. They'll try to write some sophisticated ass algorithm, and it's like if you just do the simple thing, it works just as well, and it doesn't break. And you're just trying to look smart, and you get
Yeah,
wrecked.
yeah. It's so hard to tell in crypto when you're the midwit and when you're not, you know. But it's like that's the key to it's such a key to success to avoid being the midwit.
Midwit hindsight's 2020.
Because that whole deflationary, like speaking of midwit, the whole deflationary thing, like what I've noticed in NFTs is, like ever since I launched Samurai, I've been like buying way less, like trading them way less because I just don't have time. And but I but I just I'm on Twitter a lot still, and I've noticed that there's like each week there's some fucking narrative that like everyone's hyped on, and I feel like you can make good money like front running these narratives better. Because like at first it was like the royalties, and then it was like royalties are a scam. Like I wish you could fucking short the floor, because then everything with royalties fucking dumped,
Well, I
basically.
feel royalties are actually like an interesting one. Like I feel like your point is good, which is like front running the pure meme, like the pure irrationality, seems like a dominant strategy. And then all of a sudden, someone had the brilliant idea to actually add value to these things, and then the regulatory headwinds hit, and then the adding cash flows to the NFTs was really a bearish sign. So I feel like irrationality is actually bullish for NFTs, whereas adding actually value capture complicates the whole strategy.
Dude, exactly. Like I was talking about it with Mookie yesterday because we were just brainstorming this new thing we're doing for Samurai, and I was like ranting about like, dude, like so many people now they come into our Discord or like, I'm helping these other projects and I see the comments all the time and people are like, well, what's the utility? And it's like, dude, like NFTs not that long ago, like nobody gave a fuck about utility. Like literally like 3 months ago, it's just like, dude, we're getting like fun collectibles and like you have this community and like you hope the number goes up and sometimes it doesn't. Like that was all it was, you know? And then now everybody's like, well, like, what's the utility? What's your roadmap? And it's like, bro, I mean, I get you have to do that to compete, but I just feel like sometimes like the fun is like being sucked out of it, and now every NFT project's trying to be like a DeFi project. you know?
I mean, I do think that's the next major, um, like the next major shift for NFTs in terms of like their evolution in society. I think does go to utility. Like the idea is really good. Like to the extent that you can like imbue an NFT with like access or some sort of value or right or an entitlement, like that's a very powerful primitive. But
Yeah.
you don't want to jam up like the artistic world with those primitives. There are like other use cases, like for example, like Build, the co-working DAO that I'm a part of, like the passports that give you access to like the international network of co-working spaces are going to be NFTs, and that makes a lot of sense because everyone can just refer to the fact that your wallet and your NFT are connected, and then you can go get your access wherever you might be, or like the obvious shit like tickets. But like any instantiation of value that you can like imbue an NFT with, like that's a pretty powerful use case. But like that's a future thing, and I don't think that should be like conflated with like the fun creative art world that we have today.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably sound like I'm like bearish on the utility NFTs, but like I think what frustrates me is when NFTs try to be DeFi projects. That's the part that frustrates me when they try to make it all about the financialization. Because like I actually love that idea or like what Gary Vee did, where it's like a lifetime ticket to his events. Like I think that's super cool. Like if you're a creator or like I don't know an entrepreneur and you have some like special access that you can like give people, I think it's such an easy play to do NFTs. Like I was talking with this project. I'm not like officially consulting with them, but they just like asked for my advice, and it's this guy who he's like a big sports agent or whatever, and he's doing this Willie Mays NFT. Like he was Willie Mays agent, and I was telling the guy, I was like, dude, like if you're gonna have all these sports players, like it would be so easy to create a gated Discord server where like once a month, fucking Derek Jeter comes in and you can chat with him like for an hour. Like that would be so fucking sick. And but like people aren't really doing it. And
Right.
like that shit I get hyped about because that's more like the cultural utility, the artistic utility. But what I don't like is when it's like, oh, you buy and burn, and then like you hold this NFT, so you get airdropped NFTs which are worth value, or you get airdropped a token which like you is money, and that shit, I just am like, I don't know. Sometimes I just think it's just a big fucking Ponzi, but I don't know. That's the stuff I don't like, where everyone's like trying to look at NFTs as like a token, like a fungible token launch, and I don't think it. Um, I think I think there's other utility that's cool, and that's what I'm more excited about, I guess.
Shake,
How do
if I
you
were to
think about
put
the?
10%,
Oop, go ahead.
no, you go ahead, bro. Chris, talk.
Maybe we lost him.
I teach.
All right. Well, Shake.
How do you think about the fact that
If I were to put, if I,
God, Chris,
terrible.
are you on a VPN? It's fucking lagging. Just go ahead, teach.
He muted himself. He muted himself. I think that's the official vote of confidence. If I were to put 10% of the fund in one NFT project, you have a 2-year horizon. Where does that go?
Just any NFT or Solana NFTs?
No, it's got to be any NFT, but only one project. So that 10% of the fund is only in that one project.
It's hard, like, because I think there's two ways. I think Like I think if it's like as a fund manager, you probably think of it more as like, okay, what's because I think I could think of like what the surest bet is of like being around and increasing in value, or I could think of like a more percentage increase, but like more risky, you know?
Yeah, think
So
about
what's
like
like the biggest risk reward?
yeah, think about like the 90% being much more stable and having a moderate return, and this is sort of like your 10%. Like this is your VC like a moon 10%.
Yeah. Um, oh man, that's hard. That's hard.
Dude, I feel like something like a World of Women might have some juice.
Yeah. I mean, actually, that's a good call. I haven't looked at it recently, but
Like,
that
dude,
one is
my
pretty like
like
definitively like the woman niche.
that's the thing, and like my mom is like starting to get the NFTs. Like I feel like it's percolating out into culture, and like just like women in general, I feel like haven't participated as much as men, obviously, but I think that's sort of changing. And like World of Women seems to have like good culture, and I think they like you know contribute some money to like the Afghan refugee crisis. Seems like
So
they got some good cultural riffs.
I have a controversial view here. I like generally care a lot about like what people with money in crypto think and less about what new people getting into it think when evaluating whether or not to invest in something. So I don't know. I think like what you described sounds like a cool project, but there aren't a ton of women with a lot of crypto holdings. So who's buying and trading that project after the initial sale? I don't know.
Huh, that is a good take. I mean, I think if you're, yeah, because like it's not. I mean, it's not that expensive right now relatively to like Bored Ape or something. But yeah, I think that's a good point. What are the crypto rich going to want to buy? Like, because I was going to say, um, I was thinking of like Solana NFTs just because it's what I know better, and I was going to say SMB. I feel like could still have like if Solana gets like you know because even Solana has a lot of room to grow if you assume that like crypto like active crypto wallets don't grow that much. Solana I think could still grow a ton, and to me I think it's like the clear number one project on Solana. um, and it's I don't know, there's a lot of things that I love about it as like a longer term investment. So but yeah, I don't know. The hard thing with comparing Solana NFTs and Ethereum NFTs is at the end of the day, there's just way more liquidity and volume on OpenSea, and a lot of people who are like these ETH whales. I think this is just completely anecdotal, but I think can tend to be like somewhat maxi, and just like I don't know. So there's not always that much liquidity coming
We
to
we
Solana, but
we like as a Solana community too though need to like raise the bar and quality of the stuff. Like there are some great projects, but just so many like soul animal 5K 10K generative, not much thought going into it. Like the I love Solana. I'm like a borderline maxi, but in terms of when I think of interesting NFT projects that have launched, most of them are still on Ethereum. Like we haven't gotten the
I agree.
the pox, the DOMs of the world that are doing, all those really cool ETH projects. Like we need those people to start coming over to Solana and, not have such. I think we just have like a bit of a reputation for only doing these animal NFT drops, and like that needs to improve, and they need to feel like it's safe for them to venture over into the Soul ecosystem. Once that happens, we'll see explosive growth, I think.
Yeah. It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately is um, the how like on Ethereum. I don't actually know the exact number, but it costs thousands of dollars to mint an NFT project. Like just to mint the actual NFTs and like deploy the smart contract, it like costs like some capital to do it. And I think it that barrier to entry like actually helps the quality a little bit more. Like there's still shit projects on ETH, But on Solana, it's like so much easier. You literally need, I mean, if you can find a fucking dev to set up your candy machine, like you need almost no money to do a Solana NFT project. And it's like, is that good? Is that bad? Well, I think it has pros and cons, but I think the con is that we're seeing so many projects and it fucking annoys me, honestly. It's like every week there's some new animal and it's like whatever, some animal noise, and they all are just posting it. And it just is like so scammy. And I don't know. I could see why people like looking from the outside would be like, man, like
and
their
like
NFT scene sucks.
it's also like, you know, the every animal project's doing the same go to market of like tag 5 friends, we'll airdrop you NFTs, like go and comment on these posts, and they're all commenting like dumb shit, and like it just like doesn't give off a great vibe to me yet. But there are some great projects in here, like, and a lot of really interesting stuff. It's just, man, there are a lot of kind of like retail focused scammy NFT projects in the Sol ecosystem right now.
Yeah, completely agree. I completely agree. It yeah, I always I'm like I don't know how to. I feel like hopefully it just reaches a point where like the average retail participant realizes that and like they get fatigue of like minting Soul Bunny or whatever, like every day. But I don't know. Sometimes it seems like it'll go on forever.
How are people not fatigued yet?
I mean, I don't know, man.
I just assumed.
Like there's a lot of projects that don't sell out, to be fair, but there's still enough incentive for, let me look on like Soul Analysis, but there's so many fucking launches still. And so many people trying to make something. I've talked to some teams where like I just think people don't realize what's actually unique. Like there's such a cookie cutter roadmap items, right? Oh, we're gonna do airdrops, we're gonna buy and burn, like we're gonna do a comic book, we're gonna do merch. These are things that my fucking project has too. But like, and I don't know, people just keep getting hyped about it. And it's so easy for me to see like, dude, these literally all these projects have the same roadmap, and their art is just like, they paid $500 for the art, and it's like super quickly done. And I don't know. Because the thing with Solana is you can do a zero point 0.1 Sol mint, right? You can do a 0.2 Sol mint and still raise like a good amount of money.
Did you know what I can't tell is if people are actually continue to be hyped on these projects, or if they've purchased the projects and then they've exhibited hype in order to pump the narrative. Like I feel like the EV on these projects is still high enough such that people are still going to buy the new thing and hope that it pumps. And if it's a small project, like to the extent that you do have some clout on Twitter, like you showing that you're hyped on the project does hype up the project, whether or not there are any good fundamentals.
Oh yeah. I mean, I talked to this guy in another Twitter space, and he's like a legit doctor. Like he was doing his residency, and we were talking about why, like what do you look for when you invest in a project? And he was like, well, anything that Function tweets about is probably good to buy. And I'm like, damn, bro, that's really. And he was being dead serious. So yeah,
Like
I think
like
it's a lot. Yeah.
doing this cube project, like we're not doing any collabs, we're not doing any paid promotions, we're like refusing to take that path. But like, you know, well-known people have DM'd our account, like not explicitly being like, hey, can we say, we just say no, we're not doing anything. But like, you got to be wary when you see people tweet out like what incentive they have and what exposure they have to those projects. And I think a lot of the people with an audience that can drive, you know, eyes to it are, you know, just financially motivated to keep pushing out the new thing. And so we just have to be careful when people are pushing stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And it's like it's such a fine line. I think too. Like there's people who I respect who will just buy a lot of a project and then like tweet it out, But there's at least they're disclosing like, oh, I just swept this floor, like or whatever. Like they're saying I bought it, so it's kind of it's transparent. The shit that I fucking hate is when it's a lot of these like new like Solana whatever influencers, and they brand themselves as that, and like they're clear. Like to me, I can see like, and I know from behind the scenes like they're getting paid to do this, but they act like they're just doing like due diligence in a thread. That shit like man, shit pisses me off so fucking much.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I
Honestly,
mean? They do the
I
little
feel like this.
checklist. Oh, airdrops, whatever. And it's like, fuck, dude. This is so
I mean,
clearly
I
paid.
mean, I feel like this exact dynamic whereby people that have carved out clout for themselves in the ecosystem, like they can genuinely affect the direction and the success of insert coin or NFT. Like something like Lido having like the stamp of approval of Kobe, who is like he's like the he's like the Thomas Paine of the crypto world. Like he's like the common man's entry to the crypto world. Like having his name on Lido is like the effect of having like function pumping an NFT. Like so many people are just going to arbitrarily like not choose Rocket Pool and choose Lido just because Kobe the influencer's name is on it. Which by the way is why I think like World of Women, like KW's point is good, right? There's like a lot of money there's a shitload of money that already exists in the whales' wallets, and how much of that dry powder is there relative to the new money coming in? But if someone like Reese Witherspoon or fucking Kim K decides she wants to buy an NFT, like, and she's a woman and she wants to do a woman thing, she's gonna do a World of Women thing, and that's just gonna pump that project to oblivion. Like,
Right.
I still don't agree with that. I personally think like celebrity endorsement in crypto means absolutely nothing. Like CMS Holdings telling you to buy something or Kobe, massive influence because it's all the people with money that follow them. But when you see like Snoop or maybe Snoop's a bad example because he's done really well in the NFT ecosystem and has now a crypto following that follows him. But non-crypto celebrities that are getting involved, like look at Jake Paul or whatever, Logan Paul's NFTs and how they've done, and like he has millions and millions of followers, and they're just total trash. So like the celebrity thing, I think doesn't matter very much unless it's a celebrity that has a following of crypto people.
So, I mean, actually, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, because like I'm looking at World of Women, right? And the floor price is like basically 10 grand. And so like it's already too expensive for the average person, And so but there's plenty of rich women, right, who haven't come into NFTs. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like very quickly NFTs become this thing that like whales are speculating on, and it just trying to transfer liquidity. Like off the initial pump, like if it gets above like 1 ETH, or 2 ETH, then it's like no normal guys are like guys who make, 50K are buying it anymore. Um, so yeah, it's kind of like a weird thing about NFTs. I don't know. I think about Bored Ape, right? And I'm not an expert on Bored Ape Yacht Club at all, but like Bored Ape Yacht Club, they have this really strong community. So there's people who are still holding it. Like I've heard interviews with, I watched this one podcast where they talk about Bored Apes all the time, and there's like this guy who's like, dude, he's like a middle class guy, right? And he's like still holding his Bored Ape and like not gonna sell it, and it's like more than he would make in like 3 years salary in America, right? And like first off, that's fucking crazy in my opinion, but that's happening. And so it's like, but Bored Ape at the same time has become this thing where like it's the blue chip project where, or same thing with CryptoPunks too, which are even more expensive, but like new people coming into crypto, and then existing people in crypto who are rich want a Bored Ape. So I kind of get what you're saying, but yeah. It's not like, yeah, like, but I guess you could argue, would a woman buy a Bored Ape? Maybe, probably not. I don't know. Like, would they use it as their PFP? No, but so I don't know. I kind of see both sides to it. But
I
like,
mean,
yeah,
I feel like a Range Rover woman would buy a World of Women if like a big respectable female made it clear on social media that they would. I mean,
because it
you
already
take
has legs is the reason that I think, like, the reason that it's kind of contrary to what KW said, is like World of Women already has like something there, so it's not like solely influencer hype, but influencer hype can help a lot with something that's already there. Like that's what happened with Bored Apes, right? Like Steph Curry bought one, fucking, Lonzo Ball bought one,
Well,
but there was already something there that existed.
Bored Apes is a freaking cool project, and I'd say that it's like beyond a profile pick flex project, because they're like, they're I think they're buying a nightclub in Miami. They're like building out an ecosystem, and it's almost like buying a like membership to the Soho House at this point. And the people like Seth Curry that are buying it, it's like, now I'm a member of a club that he's a member of. More, and so I don't, it is a profile pick flex, but like that project's doing so much, and I think that one's super interesting beyond just being a profile pick thing.
Agree.
But that's definitely right. Like it's a cultural force to be reckoned with. But it's now a cultural force to be reckoned with because it's such a successful and expensive project. Like if you wind it back to a stage where it was doing pretty well, it was once a profile pick project that like people had to speculate on using like these same setups. It's just by virtue of it having like, a rather large treasury that it can then go out in the real world and buy things like nightclubs, and like these things are worth enough now that like people are gonna paint murals in Brooklyn. But like World of Women could be where Bored Ape Yacht Club was a year ago or whenever, 9 months ago. I can't keep track of the timelines.
Yeah, Bored Apes isn't even a year old, which is fucking crazy. But yeah, I don't know. It's NFTs are like such a weird thing because Bored Ape, like you have to bet on the community, right? And like the community's future growth and involvement and stuff. Like, and it's kind of hard to predict. Like they don't have like fundamentals, right? Right now, Bored Ape has fundamentals, but like in its early days, like I remember when it was trading at 1 ETH, and I remember like people talking about it on Twitter and stuff, and I was just like, what? This doesn't make any fucking sense. And yeah, so like the fundamentals kind of get built out by the community, but then also to KW's point, like they made like 80 million in royalties like just recently, like from the like during the Christie's or whatever hype, and so they
Yeah.
can literally buy fucking nightclub, they can do this, and they have this like crazy roadmap, and they're actually going to do it and stuff. So, but that wouldn't have happened, right? If Bored Apes was like I'm trying to think of another project that came out around then. I have this one, some fucking ape thing that like is trading at like 1.5 ETH, and it came out around the same time. It's like similar concept, but they're not doing the same thing because it hasn't got that like cultural
Yeah,
hype.
exactly. I mean that's like Hashmass, right? Like Hashmass was a crazy project,
Yeah,
but they just got no length, and so they have no treasury. And I also feel like you're betting on the community, but all this shit is so reflexive. Like there are zero fundamentals, but there are also like lots of fundamentals. You bet on the community pushes forward the project rises in price. That price acts as like an awareness generator, which feeds back into the community, and like some of these things just like snowball into like insane success, and others by virtue of like one little lacking fundamental like didn't get that butterfly effect. It's just like there's so many factors that are completely unpredictable and in like any NFT project
yeah,
taking off in my view, like especially outside the artistic world. Like I don't know, like people are looking at this stuff on Nifty Gateway for like very different reasons than like the PFP stuff on OpenSea. I don't know. I mean, this is just copium central because I'm just a garbage NFT investor. I obviously
bag
bought.
yours
I
truly,
bought.
Hashmass bag holder.
Yeah, exactly. I actually got out of Hashmass in the black, but naturally I bought World of Women super early. I bought like one of the blue ones, sold it way too early. Now the project's doing well. I should stick to my fungibles.
It's funny, the World of Women's thing. Like I like made some. I don't know. It was like one of my recent like good flips. It was on ETH, and it was called crypto chicks. And I remember saying in our Discord, I was like, see, most guys are speculating that women are going to buy their bags. I'm speculating that men are going to speculate that women are going to speculate. You know,
Yeah,
like you have to
yeah,
realize what game you're playing. Like no, there's not going to be 10,000 women with like who want to spend $5,000 on like every new women project popping up, right? Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's funny. But Board Ape. So here's something that I just thought of, and I'd be curious, like all your guys' takes. And KW like has been through a couple, well, basically all the cycles. But like, what do you guys think about like the whole 4 year cycle thesis based on the halving? Do you guys think this is going to like hold up? Because we've seen, like Axie decoupled kind of when we were in the little bearish phase, and then like in my opinion, NFTs were a big catalyst for bringing back the bull market. Like when all the institutional buying by like Three Arrows Capital and stuff with the punks. And it kind of kicked off this whole NFT season where people wanted to keep their money in crypto and like keep speculating. Do you guys think? Yeah, what do you guys think about the whole 4 year cycle thesis? Because we've only had it really twice play out a certain way. Are we going to see it again this year? Or anybody can? I
I
mean, yeah.
you know, every prior cycle, it's been like there hasn't really been much utility to blockchains, and people weren't actually using blockchains. Like 2017, we you know Ethereum existed. We didn't have DeFi. People weren't using it. NFTs weren't a thing. Like the pretty much every other layer one chain that was trading at the time either was trading like an ERC20 representative token of their base chain, or like they had their token out, but like no one had built anything on top of it, and so it was easy for things to like people to lose interest. I think the difference now is like there's now fun things to do with blockchains and people are using them. Um, does that mean that we won't have bear cycles? No, we'll for sure have corrections and times when people are less or more interested. But I think the cycles are going to get a lot shorter. And like we'll have like few month periods where we have these dips. But like I personally don't think we're going to see multi-year bear cycles play out like what we had in like 2018. Again, at least in the chain ecosystems where there's real utility, like you know Solana, AVAX, Luna is interesting. um, but if people aren't engaged in actually using a protocol, um, like I said, it's really easy to lose interest when the price starts going down. But when we had the Sol correction back down to like 120, I was spending like 10 hours a day doing things in Sol and building on Sol. I never lost interest. Most of you guys were probably doing the same. And so like I don't know. I'm optimistic that we have shorter cycles and less deep bear markets kind of moving forward.
Tej or Chris? Curious your guys' takes too.
Yeah, I think enough people are building on it, and that that's one element of like it just keeps things going. Like I think all the developers just that are in crypto right now will continue to be like it won't go anywhere, and so there's definitely stuff to play with. I also think there's just like macro element of more and more people are going to keep buying Bitcoin, and everything just kind of trickles down, um, because it just like leads the pack, and then people take that money and then reinvest it in the rest of crypto, and like that's just kind of driven by more and more people getting in because they're worried about like inflation, etc. And then like more people are getting into ETH, and these things it like kind of just keeps trickling down. Um, so uh, yeah, I kind of feel like the way the modern financial like the legacy system works just like spits out energy, and then crypto just keeps gobbling it up, and it just keeps it going. Um, that's kind of my uh, view on things.
I mean, I feel like there's also a like for us to continue to have like crazy oscillations, like you're gonna have to have people leaving crypto as their flight to safety. Like crypto is getting too volatile, so let me go back and put my money in USD. Let me go back and put my money into fixed income or stocks. When in reality, I don't think like crypto is not simply like an alternative asset class. I think like crypto rails will host like a broad swath of value that like encapsulates those other asset categories, like even shit like synthetics. Like we're going to start to have like mirrors of other assets that trade 24/7. So it's not just like crypto is this asset class. It's like crypto is this like new plumbing where like all of value will be. And so I generally agree that like where is your money going to go if it's leaving crypto? I think like as the cycles continue, like you are going to have a internet bubble dynamic where like certain things are just like appending crypto or appending a coin to their enterprise offering and seizing the day and hoping for the best. Like a lot of that shit goes to zero. But in general, like I don't see a world where like the entire crypto market value goes and dips back down to 500 billion.
Hey TJ, this what you saying, man? When I sell some Solana just to hatch a little bit, so to have liquidity, I stay on Solana, take USDC, and stake it on Port Finance and earn like 15% APR easily. I would never like change it back into fiat and put it on a bank, where in like Germany and Europe you even have to pay penalty tax if you have more than 50K in your bank account.
I'm the same way. I have a lot of money in crypto and I have like $3,000 in my bank account. I would never.
Yeah.
That's funny. Chris literally sent me a screenshot of that exact thing. I think Chris was overdrawn by $3,000 though.
I'm in the negative right now.
As soon as like American Express lets me pay in SPL USDC, like I will not need a bank account. Like it's
exactly.
Yeah.
There's a guy, bro, in Germany when you're unemployed and you worked for a year before and you can prove that you have no like fiat in your bank account, you get money from the state, like 400, 500 euros, right? And he has like 6 digits in crypto somewhere on some wallets, and he's getting like these $500 checks from the government.
Dude, that's the way. That's the way. You just have crypto. You have crypto, and then you go out of your way to bankrupt the state.
Rock the government. This is the way.
That's what I'm saying. We're just like the government's just funding crypto and they don't realize it. Like they just keep printing money and then everything goes up. Everyone's like, I'll just keep holding this shit. I mean, it's always going to be volatile because crypto, like you can use an obscene amount of leverage, which just like, creates volatility. But like everyone's just down to just hold it, so I don't know.
I think the real question for the big, are we going to continue to have these like just deep troughs is like, do the people that have the most crypto, are they going to continue to be incentivized to leave crypto when shit goes badly? And I just don't feel like that's the case. Like the big crypto whales, like they've made it very clear where their money will remain. Like the institutions coming in, like, are they really going to get like fudded out of their new BTC holdings after like convincing their board for a year that this is like a good way to diversify the balance sheet? Like, I don't see where the value goes, like, other than for individuals. Like I imagine all of us on this call, like at some point or currently, will buy like a reasonable size house because we want to rest our head somewhere. But outside of that, like gold, like precious metals, other real estate, land, equities, fixed income, like a lot of that stuff, the gold, silver, fixed income, and equities will already be on crypto rails. So there's literally no reason to leave other than to pay for things in real life, which that'll come along. You'll be able to pay with USDC. I mean, I already do pay with USDC with the Visa interface. Like, there's just not a lot of reason to leave that system. It'll always just percolate around to some other coin in the system.
So some of us can't even get loans to buy a home because we look terrible to banks. Like, I could buy a home outright, but why would I risk all that capital? But like, a lot of banks still don't even consider digital assets like part of your net worth when qualifying for bank loans. So I'll just keep staking Solana.
Yeah.
Just buy a Solstead.
Dude, I told you guys,
Yeah.
my new landlord is like a crypto fucking fiend, and I think he's gonna have me pay him in crypto, which I'm like super hyped about, and like to avoid the tax on it. I guess it'll be better for me too. Like if I have it in a non KYC wallet. If the IRS is listening, it's all a joke.
Dude, pay him an
Entertainment
SLP.
purposes. But yeah, seriously, I mean, like to go back to like the 4 year cycle thing, it's like that at a macro level, which I don't fucking understand at all. But like you guys are saying, right, the government's going to keep printing and like the stock market, they want to prop up the stock market, right? And if the stock market, like, I think that I agree with like basically that we won't have these 4 year crazy cycles where everyone's exiting into fiat. I'm really hopeful for that. And like I had thought that, and I went to this SMB meetup, and there was a couple people who had been around during the last cycle, and I could tell they all had like PTSD. They're like, "Dude, I'm selling everything this year. I'm going to sell everything in February or whatever." And I just was like, I don't know if that's going to happen, dude. Especially with the ETF. To Chris's point, right? There's like I know it's cash settled futures, but like still, there's a way for people to get exposure via ETF. Like Grayscale is like pretty widely used too, and so I just feel like it has to be different this year. I know it's such a meme, but um, I don't know.
I mean, it's just there's different trends operating at different time scales, and then like over time, there's just more people that are holding it as like a long term investment, and the more people like that, there's just less and less like marginal sellers, and the price will go up.
Right.
That's why like over the long run, it's like linear up. Like the long term trend is linear up, and then there's oscillations along that way, right? Because people lever up and do stupid shit, and then people get scared. But as long as it just keeps like there's more and more people who want to hold for the long term, the number will just keep going up. And I feel like the current financial system sucks enough that that's going to be the case. Uh, like banks aren't that great, and the dollar's inflating, et cetera, et cetera,
I
et
mean,
cetera.
I think that is a great point, and something that like I continue to forget is like the opportunity cost to crypto capital right now is stonks basically, and stonks are at all time high. It's been the longest bull market of all time, and if the Fed takes their hand off the lever for a second, then that opportunity cost could start to tilt into a bear market. And that scares a whole bunch of capital into the system as well. It's like there's just not that many places to put your money, and there will increasingly not be going forward.
Okay, what's the bear case? We're all just
The bear case is
those
it's all
bulltards.
useless, and like these yields and stuff we're talking about, like these yields like will go to zero in a bear market, and like USDC gets fucking banned in the US, and like everyone's trying to KYC, and it cucks all of us.
That's
Well, that's
that's
interesting.
that
Yeah,
sounds
like I feel
so.
like the stables are a choke point.
Yeah.
But that's also why like in a regulatory environment that's like very very bullish for certain coins in a way that without a regulatory crackdown it wouldn't be that bullish. For example, if there was a crackdown on stables and KYC and shit like that, that would be so bullish for both BTC and Luna.
Yeah, I mean like there is definitely a chance where like wrap BTC ends up becoming it gets more stable over time and it becomes like I mean it's not a stable coin obviously, but it operates like your unit of account in DeFi, which would be crazy. Which mega bullish for Bitcoin, I guess.
Yeah, because I've been thinking like because I finally like made I don't know like I don't know I finally like have some money that I'm like kind of worried about. I guess it's not like I'm rich or anything, but like I was thinking like gosh like some of my family members were like telling me to put it in like the stock market, and I just was like, well, dude, I don't know. Like I'm fine losing it all, right? But it's like if the stock market is gonna keep going up, like I just don't see how crypto won't go up more. You know what I mean? Um,
I mean, I feel like the premise with moving your money to the stock market is like there are two options. Like one is like Web 2 or traditional businesses become more productive and generate more earnings than crypto protocols, or the Fed continues to crank their monetary levers, which is almost because they're at the zero lower bound. I feel like that there's just not that fantastic of a bull case for stonks right now.
Yeah, like I guess it'd be a hedge. Like, okay, if crypto goes to zero, like I'm still getting growth from like traditional, the equities, right? And but yeah, I don't know.
What do you guys think is the best hedge if we really get like a hyperinflation, which we had almost 100 years ago?
I feel like property, but I don't fucking know shit. So
Yeah, sorry. Just on
I
that
agree.
note, also for like real estate, I think I don't have an apartment. I mean, I'm renting in an apartment that I live in, right? But I mean, if I sold like 2 of my NFTs, I could probably buy an apartment. But I have no clue how this stuff goes down. So if anybody has some like experience in like real estate as a hedge, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in real estate since I graduated school. I used to trade real estate bonds. I mean, I think in general, like any property, any asset will do well in an inflationary environment. Um, and if it's hyperinflationary, like it's proper, like Weimar Germany, then in general, I think you want to own assets that that have like direct value to you and your body.
Like
And so
cigarettes.
that's like cigarettes, guns, cars, and real estate.
Yeah, I'm serious, man. I mean, like in Germany, cigarettes were a currency for some time, right?
I mean, cigarettes are currency in jail. It's a consumable. Like that's the stuff. Like food. Like this is why farmland is so valuable in hyperinflationary environments, because like it has a yield, and that yield is denominated in something that you can eat and survive on. I mean, if that's where we go, I mean, like all types of property, I think will do well, whether digital property or physical property. And like the renting in this environment would just be a fucking nightmare. So it would definitely be nice to have like your own citadel that you could host your people in a truly doomsday scenario.
Citadel is a nice word. Yeah, I have a nice picture in my head now.
KW, do you invest in the stock market as a hedge? Or are you full fucking degenerate?
I personally only own individual stock names of crypto companies. Like I was a pretty early investor in Square, and I own a lot of that. And I have a wealth manager in New York that handles the rest. I just don't pay attention to it. So I do have some exposure through them, but the only individual stuff I'll pick is crypto related stuff where I think it's interesting.
Lads.
Zane's been trying to get me to buy some stocks. He's like, it's a better risk adjusted investment than Bitcoin. I'm like, dude, don't try to pop my bubble over here.
Yeah, you're like I think you still have a Bitcoin maxi like within you.
Yeah, I'm a hybrid soul Bitcoin maxi.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're like the best of two worlds. I just hate ETH.
You and me both. The only redeemable thing about ETH right now, like I said, is the NFT ecosystem there. Like the NFT projects on ETH are on a different level, but like the using ETH, it's so frustrating, and I don't know how they're gonna scale. I don't know how like they're gonna transition to POS successfully. Like there's just like so many unknowns. And layer 2 scaling is just dumb, like as a concept. So it's like Sol is the future, and I love Bitcoin. So we sound like similar outlooks on crypto.
I feel you, bro. I was so excited when OpenSea announced Polygon, but to me it was like a big I was really hyped when Polygon had this hype, but it's absolutely shit right now, I think. And the whole vibe, honestly, there's a different vibe. It's like a different country when you come to Solana land. It's different. And I just looked at my wallet yesterday and I was amazed how many fucking NFTs I bought for 40 SOL, 50 SOL, 60 SOL, and what the fuck are you doing, bro? That's 2 Rolexes or 2 cars for each NFT. It's
I feel
insane.
you so much. I feel you so much, dude. Like my fucking, I have so many NFTs worth more than my car and like more than my fucking like net worth in fiat. You know, it's fucking crazy.
But you know what's strange? I don't know if I'm if I have the right data, but I have the feeling that especially on Solana there are more NFT projects than token projects. Is that right, or do I have like a wrong impression?
There probably are more. I mean, dude, I was looking at how rare today. To go back to what we were saying earlier, like there's like 25 mints today. This
Yeah,
is
like every day, right? Every
so.
day.
Yeah, there's definitely. I would assume there's definitely more NFTs, like because it's kind of just like an easy shitcoin to make. Like you can make a shitcoin that has a picture, basically, and people like it more.
Yeah, lads, it was great to talk to all you guys. I got to step off. We got a prospective tenant coming to visit the place in 15. Just want to make it not look rancid, clean up a little bit. It was fantastic. Very much enjoyed.
Put a
For sure,
nice
bro.
Deegan ape on a picture on the wall.
Oh, bro, it's already on the TV.
Uh,
By the way, Lil Perp, I have some questions about this new Thugbirds collections. Do you know more about it? Like, is that just by somebody who owns one of the original Thugbirds and he just made a derivative, or like how did that come?
Oh man, I don't honestly know. I uh I got airdropped one and I looked at it this morning. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. So I just made it my PFP. Maybe Shake knows more.
Okay, cool. So the guy made it and he just airdropped it to Thugbird holders. Yeah.
yeah, the infamous
I
thugs.
think
I think
so.
so. Yeah, you can also buy them on Magic Eden. Um,
Yeah, but
they're
primary
super
was an
cool.
airdrop, right?
Yeah, I think it was. Honestly, I'm kind of confused because I think it was OG Thugbirds, but I don't know if that's not all of them. Maybe I don't know. Do you guys know? I don't know. I actually don't know that much about Thugbirds, but I remember them saying something like, "Oh, it's going to all the OG Thugbirds." Is that like
All
a
right.
is that like a certain part of the collection, or is that all of
Mm,
the Thugbirds? I don't fucking know.
Then it's probably only the people who minted them, right? Because I actually own one of the top 20 rank and I didn't get one, so it's probably like the people who minted it originally only got one.
Huh.
yeah, I did mint one.
I did mint one, but not from the wallet that I used, like because it went onto my ledger, but I don't know, dude. Thugbirds, like I think Thugbirds is so awesome, honestly. um, Thugbirds I like because it feels more organic for like the average guy. I know the average guy again is probably already outpriced, but like Thugbirds, I get the feeling of what I would imagine Degen Apes felt like, or sorry, Bored Apes felt like early on. Whereas like Degen Apes and SMB, I think there's like a lot of like people are like acting like it already is the Bored Ape. You know what I mean? And like big money's coming in, and people are like, because Thugbirds hasn't had that many big purchases. This is the reason I'm saying that. Like Thugbirds hasn't had these like massive like whale rare purchases, whereas the other ones have. And
Not the volume, yeah, but I got mine for 99 sol, which is I don't even like, I shouldn't think about this. It's stupid.
it seems like that seems like a deal. Isn't the floor like 60 now or something? Um,
Is it?
that
Yeah.
seems. I think the floor is like 60. Yeah. Let me see. I think it is. But yeah, Thugbirds, I fucking love. I just heard their. I listened to one of their Twitter Spaces and like um, compared to like I'm not trying to like flood any other project, but just compared to other like communities, it felt so like organic and just kind of like I don't know. It just had a real community feel to it. And sometimes other projects starts to really feel like a business, you know, which it is, right? And I think they kind of trend that way anyways. But like I don't know, Thugbirds just feels very like its own thing, and that I'm just I don't know, I'm just bullish on them. I have
Yeah,
all of the fucking main projects, but like I love Thugbirds. I don't know.
you know what is I didn't introduce myself. I'm actually project manager of Skulls. What the fuck?
Dude, I wanted to
So,
ask you, were you the one I was talking to in the DMs a bit ago? Maybe, huh?
bro, probably it's like we launched 2 weeks ago, and ever since it's absolutely insane. I cannot even catch up with half of the communications. But I was gonna touch on what you said with the feeling when you come into the community, right? I have the feeling that also for like Thugbirds, they're like really cool and chill, and they also don't focus too much on floor. While honestly, our community has some people in it who are like only focusing on floor, right? Every day is like floor. What's floor? What's floor? Sweep,
Yeah.
sweep, 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 sweep. And I mean, of course, you got to sweep the floor, but then again, it's kind of like I think it's kind of a loser attitude if you like only using that perspective, and of course you have to watch the floor, keep your house clean and stuff. But there's this like mentality in a community. When I went, for example, I went to the Soul socks. I honestly forgot that I bought a Soul sock on Magic Eden on the first day it was listed, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening? They're giving away a Tesla. The floor is like 50 or whatever." And people paying like crazy amounts for to get a pair, and but they have like a super positive attitude, and nobody was asking about floor at the Soul Socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the value of NFTs, like you almost have to ignore the image. Like the image doesn't matter at all. Like the art's cool, but it's like it purely like the way they trade. It's like purely a representation of how strong the community is that's like holding them. Like I think that's why monkeys are doing so well. Like Monkey DAO is amazing. Doug Birds has their DAO. Like it's like a positive, awesome community, and so then they do well in price. And like the projects where it's like really focused on price and price alone, you're not building community. You're just trying to flip and make a dollar, and like by focusing on it, you're not going to make money.
That's true, yeah. And honestly, me and my team, we were a bit naive because we thought we are people who did like graffiti, and we are big into arts and colors and all of this shit. And we wanted to make like really awesome 3D, glossy, shiny, not animal NFTs. And then we came up with the skulls, and we put like 95% of our effort into the art itself. And then honestly, we forgot, not forgot, but we put little effort into like focusing more on the community, and we didn't even have a roadmap like 2 days ago that changed now. But I think you're absolutely right. You could even put like a pixel NFT that just has like random pixels. It really comes down to
I
how strong the community is.
I mean, me and Shake did the cubes. It's just a cube. Every image is a cube. We have, it's over 50 soul floor right now. So, I mean, we don't have a ton of NFTs, but like we're building a community around donations and like doing good, and like perfect example. Like the image doesn't matter. It's all about like the community and the message.
Yeah. And like some advice I'll give you, Skulls, like so this was just my experience, right? I founded Cyber Samurai, and like our floor is below mint right now. So like take whatever I say with a grain of salt. But what I noticed is at the beginning we had a lot of like the flippers, and then like as the hype went away, like now like our project is not hyped at all, right? Like most people aren't talking about it. Now is when there's actually a real community. And like people like now no one ever talks about the floor really. Like if there's like some notable sales or the volume picks up, people go, "Oh wow, like some whale came in about 10 of them or something." But like no one is in here going, "Oh my god, what are you going to do about the floor?" Instead, they're focused on like building something and contributing to the project, you know? And so I think I don't know, it's something like I guess that I just wanted to mention, like because initially they're going to get flippers almost regardless, and like the people who want to flip are the same people who like complain about the floor, and those typically those aren't people who like you build a good community around. And dude, I'm
Absolutely,
one of
man.
those
And
fucking people. Let me just say, like I flip NFTs a lot, um, so I'm like not trying to like talk shit about people who flip them, but yeah.
man, good that you said that, because I owe you at least one NFT from our collection. You dropped me also a Cyber Samurai. I completely forgot about it, to be honest.
No worries, dude. I was actually trying to find where your project was. Is it on Solsi?
Yeah, we are on Soulsea and on Magic Eden, and working on this crazy eyeballs, which is my PFP right now, which is some kind of companion, but my devs are not sure how we're going to distribute them yet.
I do really like the art, the skulls. I'm looking at it right now.
Thanks,
But
man.
yeah.
I just DM'd you on Twitter because I think we talked on Discord before. Just send me your wallet. I promised you when you send me the Cyber Samurai, I'm gonna give you skulls as soon as we mint it, and then I completely forgot, honestly.
I appreciate that, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I'll hit you. I'll send that to you. What was your mint price, by the way?
So the original plan was to do 0.88, and we had this whole thing for like 88, 888, like for like yeah, good spirits and stuff like that. But we had a problem with the candy machine on the night of minting, like 2 weeks ago, and we had a 3 hour delay. Then we had a bot attack. Then we had some like crazy people
Jeez.
flooding the shit out of our project. And then finally, like after like 3 hours delay, we fixed everything. And then we said, okay, guys, we're really sorry for everything, and we reduced the price to 0.66, but the floor is also at 0.2, I think, something like that. And yeah, it's tough at the moment still. But there are some, like, for example, the some of the rare ones with the rainbow background. There the floor is like 3 Solana, I think, and some of them already went for like 5 or 10. So I think it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, these are cool. I'm gonna buy a couple. I like them. But yeah, I think what KW said, it's really interesting. Like, it's not about the art at all. Um, I kind of like I think in the long term that's like definitely true. And the art is like the art is just like to me it's the way I think of it is one very small piece of it. And how do you build a community? How do you create people who want to contribute and like hold it to be part of something? That's what an NFT is, and that's the hard thing to do. Um, I something I struggle with, and I'm like trying to figure out on my own, with my own project. So
You know what? Honestly, my idea was because I checked my wallet and I thought, of course, I want to push my own project. But I also own the Thugbirds. I own the Cyber Samurai. I own. I think I sold my SMB yesterday, to be honest. But I thought it would be cool if there was something like a cross NFT collective DAO NFT, which would include like everybody, right? If I mean, there are some like really smart, dedicated people who are sitting on a shitloads of resources right now, and if those people would team up and basically connect like the smartest and the most like diamond hand people from all of the communities, that will be like an unstoppable collective.
yeah, here's an observation I made recently. Like, so an NFT project to me, the key is like the community, but it's like, what does that mean? And I think it's community building things for the project. So making derivatives, making like if you're making some type of sales bot or making videos or making memes, like the memes were huge with the Cube project that we did recently. And so you want the community to make things, right? And here's the issue with Solana is it's so cheap and fast and easy to make your own project. So like the type of people, like I'm one of the type of people who would contribute to a project. But I very quickly was like, dude, there's a lot of shit projects. I'm going to make my own project. And so I think one of the things that happens that's happening in Solana, maybe to a more of a degree even than on Ethereum, because the border to entry is like so small. So everybody is like wanting to do their own project because it's honestly not that hard to like do a project and sell out. And
Yeah,
so
I
you're
feel
kind of
it.
like spreading the resources of like people who want to build and be involved. They're just doing their own project. Whereas like if you look at like Monkey DAO or Thug DAO, they have like a core of like it's a small amount of people, right? But people who are smart and like competent and willing to work, but they're not building their own thing. Like they're building Monkey DAO, right? And like so they're contributing to a project that's outside of themselves in like a more of a selfless manner. And I think that's like, so yeah, it's just an observation. I think a lot of people just branch off and do their own project.
I think you're exactly right. It's similar to like music production back in the days, right? You needed to have like a super expensive studio to produce a song, and then you need to press it on vinyl. And then these days, you just need a computer, or you just need a fucking iPhone. You compose a beat, and then you put it on Spotify, right? So the entrance barrier is really, really low. But if you have this observation, like if you would do like the next project, and maybe for Cyber Samurai, or maybe for yourself, like how would you get these people together, these like high level dedicated people to build something like really crazy?
You mean get people from other projects, like get people who are already involved in other projects, or just attract like good community members in general?
I mean, honestly, in like just like a fantasy of mine, but I would love to like get a bunch of the top people from the like really coolest and best performing communities, and somehow pool them together in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question, man. I don't know how I would do that. Like, um, I don't know because I think um, part of what makes them good is like that they're dedicated to their own community. So, and they, because like for example, this guy Jemmy Gem, right? He's like does
Yeah,
a
no,
lot of the yeah, he does a lot of
the
work for Monkey DAO.
Singaporean guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, why has he not done his own project yet? And like, how could you get him to come do another project? It would probably be pretty hard. I don't know. I don't know how it would go, but like, that's my, yeah, that's my guess is that it would be hard to get Jemmy because he's like decided that he's going to build Monkey DAO, right? Or, um,
Pro- Probably you would have to have like a crypto hedge fund, and the monkeys would be one of the top assets that this hedge fund is managing or holding.
yeah, like the way that I approached it was to just do my own thing, but use those connections, but not necessarily ask them to to come do something completely different and just try to attract. Because what I found is that there's a lot of people out there who are not part of another project yet, but like they are good candidates to be part of a project. So like there's this guy who he didn't found Cyber Samurai, but now he works on it like all the time. And he has a full-time job as a lawyer. He's a really smart guy, but like in his free time, he's in our Discord, he's moderating, he's providing he's like writing some of the lore for our comic book and stuff, and he's tweeting about the project. He's like doing all this work for it because he just loves the project and wants to contribute. And so when I'm like consulting a new project, that's the kind of thing that I try to think about is like, how do we get people to who want to come and work on it? Like they'll buy some NFTs or whatever, and but then they want to work on it in the long term. And so um, one of the strategies, in my opinion, that's underutilized is like having DAO funds and paying your community members for work, which is like the point of a DAO. But like a lot of people have DAOs and they say, oh, like we're gonna buy uh, these rare NFTs for our DAO treasury, which is cool. But like I think the best thing to do is to literally vote on like, okay, we're gonna have Shake make this promotional video and we're gonna pay him $100 from our DAO. Um, like that's so I don't know. That's just what I'm trying to do. But yeah. By the way, there's this thing Tower DAO. Tower DAO is minting right now. I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
talked to the guys. I wanted to get a custom skulls floor, but I was too late. They already had all the like custom ones done. Is it minting today?
Yeah, it's minting like right now. They're doing the fair
So
launch
what?
thing.
So what if you own one floor in the tower is kind of your like community floor, right? Or what is it? What do you actually get?
I don't even know the project to be honest. I just know that people are excited about it, so I was gonna try to mint it, but yeah, I don't really get it. I don't really get it to be honest.
So what? I mean, I talked to the guys, and what I understood is that you have a tower of I don't know how many floors, but like each floor, so there's like a custom good morning, good night, and like one or two projects also got their custom floor, and then there's just like random designs. And if you have this floor, it should be usable as kind of like a community metaverse VR space or something, but I'm also not sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's my understanding of it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually I haven't been minting things recently because
The
they
cheapo on
always
secondary.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But I'm gonna try to mint this, I think.
Yeah. Send me your wallet, bro, on Twitter.
Yeah, dude, I will. I have to hop off because I got to
Yeah.
get back to work here. But yeah, dude, it's great talking with you. I'm glad we connected, and I'll hit you up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool spaces, man. If you want to do one again and maybe do some kind of cyber scouts, I don't know, cross
Yeah,
community giveaway or co-hosting shit, hit me up, man. You're a cool dude.
dude. Yeah, actually, something I'd be super down is this is like a podcast I do with my buddies, and we just decided to do it on Spaces. But I'm gonna start doing a Cyber Samurai podcast. Like I already did one where we just interviewed new projects.
Yeah.
So definitely like hit me up on that account, and like we can organize that.
Absolutely. We will drop the